All right, so get ready, because today we are diving into the very strange world of missing 411 cases.
Ooh, yeah.
These are disappearances that just go so far beyond your typical missing persons case.
Yeah.
They happen in the most bizarre circumstances and with these eerie similarities
Right.
that very often just completely defy any sort of logical explanation.
Yeah.
It's like we're stepping into an episode of The X-Files.
I was going to say.
But these stories, these are all too real.
Yeah, they're real. And what's so captivating about these cases is that they aren't just random events scattered across the globe. They kind of cluster together. Forming these patterns that make you think, is there something more going on here than just simple misfortune?
Exactly. And it was a former police officer named David Paulides who brought this term missing 411 into the public eye.
Right.
You know, he noticed these patterns while he was investigating disappearances in the wilderness. And his research has just sent shivers down the spines of so many people.
Oh, for sure.
It's like certain areas are just hot spots for these strange occurrences.
Yeah, Paul Ides, he meticulously documented these patterns. Highlighting those common factors.
Right.
You know, people vanishing near water.
Right.
The lack of any sort of trail or scent for search dogs to follow.
Right.
And a history of similar vanishings in specific locations.
Exactly.
I mean, these details coupled with the often unusual evidence left behind make missing 411 cases uniquely perplexing.
It's that chilling consistency that really gets under your skin.
Oh, yeah.
So before we dive into some specific cases,
Sure.
can you help us kind of define
Yeah.
what makes a case missing 411?
Sure. So while each case is unique,
Right.
there are some common threads that weave them all together.
Okay.
You know, proximity to water sources.
Okay.
That's a recurring theme.
Yeah.
Then there's that baffling lack of evidence I mentioned earlier.
Right.
You know, you got search dogs failing to pick up scents.
Right.
Experienced hikers vanishing in familiar territory.
Right.
It defies logic.
Yeah.
But perhaps the most intriguing element is the presence of inexplicable details.
You mean like those details that make you question everything you thought you knew about the world?
Precisely.
Okay.
For instance, there are cases where children will calmly recount being led away by unseen figures.
Oh, wow.
Or search parties hear voices that seem to move further away as they approach.
Oh, gosh.
It's that blend of the tangible and the inexplicable that sets these cases apart from your typical missing persons case.
Okay, so let's embark on this journey through these disappearances, and I think we should do it chronologically.
I think that's a great idea.
Starting with some of the earliest recorded cases.
Perfect.
Perhaps by retracing the steps of these mysteries, we can uncover some insights into the phenomenon itself.
I think that's an excellent approach.
Okay.
Let's start with the case of Alfred Balehartz in 1938.
Okay.
So imagine this. You're in Rocky Mountain National Park. A 4-year-old boy wanders a bit too far from his family's campsite.
Okay.
And vanishes without a trace.
Gone just like that, in broad daylight.
Despite extensive searches, no trace of Alfred was ever found.
Wow.
What makes his disappearance kind of like the hallmark missing 411 case? Is that suddenness, the lack of any logical explanation, and the fact that it happened in an area known for similar occurrences.
Oh.
It's as if he was plucked from the earth, leaving behind just a void of answers.
And to add to the creepiness, there's this detail about a couple hiking miles away from where Alfred disappeared, who reported seeing a small figure on a ledge across the canyon.
Oh, my God.
And they said the figure looked right at them and then just disappeared.
Wow.
It almost sounds like a ghost story.
That detail, while unverified,
adds
another layer of intrigue to the case.
Right.
It makes you wonder if something or someone was intentionally leading people astray.
Okay, let's move on to 1946 and the case of Catherine Van Alst. This time we're in Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas. An 8-year-old girl wanders off while camping with her family. And she disappears for 6 days.
Wow.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
She reappears.
Yes. Catherine's reappearance is what makes her case so fascinating and perplexing.
Right.
She was found 7 miles from where she disappeared.
Wow.
Seemingly unharmed and completely calm.
Okay.
And her explanation for her disappearance is where things take a truly strange turn.
She claimed that a friendly man had guided her through the woods.
Right. And no one else saw this man.
Right.
So what are we to make of this guide phenomenon?
Yeah, what is that all about?
Well, this is where the missing 411 rabbit hole gets deeper.
Okay.
The guide phenomenon, it pops up in numerous cases.
Really?
Particularly those involving children.
Oh, wow.
It's a detail that just sends chills down your spine.
Right.
And it's one that we'll explore further as we continue our deep dive.
Okay.
Is it a coping mechanism, a shared delusion, or something more?
Right.
It's a question that haunts these cases.
Okay, moving on to 1952.
Right.
We have 10-year-old Connie Smith disappearing from a summer camp in New York.
Okay.
She was last seen asking for directions to a bus stop.
Okay.
And just like that, she was gone.
Connie's case, like Alfred's, showcases that enduring mystery surrounding these disappearances.
Right.
Decades later, there's still no trace of her.
Wow.
No explanation for where she went or how she vanished.
Right.
It's like she stepped into another dimension, leaving behind only questions and heartache.
Let's stay in the year 1958, but shift locations to Lander, Wyoming.
Gotcha.
6-year-old Timothy Barnes is playing hide-and-seek with his friends and disappears into the woods, never to be seen again.
The eerie aspect of Timothy's case are the reports from locals who claim to hear a young boy's voice calling out from the woods during the search.
Really?
But as they got closer to the source of the voice, it would fade away.
Oh, wow.
It's almost as if the wilderness itself was playing a cruel trick on the searchers.
Like an unseen force is drawing people deeper into the mystery, playing with their perceptions and leading them on a wild goose chase.
Yeah.
Do you think there could be some natural phenomenon at play here?
That's a great question.
Like something that messes with sound and creates these auditory illusions?
That's a question that has puzzled researchers for years.
Yeah.
There are theories about unique acoustical properties in certain wilderness areas.
Right.
Or perhaps the psychological effects of stress and urgency during searches could be influencing people's perceptions.
Okay, so still in 1958, but this time in Colorado, we have the tragic case of Bobby Bazoop, a 10-year-old deaf boy who vanished from a summer camp.
Oh, wow.
And a year later, his remains were found in an area that had already been thoroughly searched.
Oh, no.
How is that even possible?
Bobby's case is a heartbreaking reminder of the very real human cost of these disappearances.
Yeah.
It also underscores a key characteristic of missing 401 cases: the seeming ineffectiveness of traditional search and rescue methods.
Right.
To find remains in an area already meticulously searched raises serious questions about what we think we know about these environments.
Yeah.
And the forces that might be at work within them.
It challenges our very understanding of how searches are conducted and makes you wonder if there are things happening that we simply can't explain with our current knowledge.
Right.
This is all so unsettling. I feel like we've just scratched the surface of this chilling phenomenon.
You're right, and there's so much more to uncover.
Yeah.
We've only just begun our journey through time, tracing the footsteps of those who have vanished.
Right.
Stay tuned as we delve deeper into more recent cases and the theories that attempt to explain them.
Yeah.
So much more to come.
Okay, great.
I'm ready when you are.
All right, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive into Missing 411. We've journeyed through decades of disappearances.
I know, right?
Each more baffling than the last.
Yeah.
And now it's time to grapple with the theories that attempt to explain these unsettling events.
My mind is already reeling just from the cases we've discussed so far.
Yeah.
Trying to make sense of these vanishings feels like navigating a maze blindfolded.
Yeah.
Where do we even begin to unravel this enigma?
Well, let's start by acknowledging that there's no single answer that neatly explains every missing 411 case.
Right.
Some researchers, they lean towards more grounded explanations.
Okay.
Rooted in natural phenomena.
Okay.
While others venture into the realm of the paranormal and the unexplained.
Okay, so let's start with the more down-to-earth theories.
Sure.
Could some of these disappearances just be attributed to simple mishaps?
Absolutely.
Like people getting lost, succumbing to the elements, or encountering dangerous wildlife?
Wilderness areas, with their unpredictable terrain and ever-changing weather patterns, can be incredibly unforgiving.
Right.
Even seasoned hikers can fall victim to disorientation, sudden storms, or injuries that leave them vulnerable.
And what about animal attacks? Couldn't predators like bears or mountain lions be responsible for some of these cases?
Predators certainly pose a risk in wilderness areas, but many missing 411 cases lack the typical evidence of an animal attack.
Right.
There's often no sign of a struggle.
Okay.
No blood trails, and no scattered remains.
Okay.
This absence of expected clues further deepens the mystery.
It's like these people simply vanished into thin air.
Right.
Leaving behind no trace of their struggle.
Exactly.
What about those cases where people report hearing voices or seeing figures that lead them astray. Could that be explained by some kind of psychological phenomenon?
Some researchers propose that these experiences might be hallucinations.
Okay.
Triggered by extreme stress, dehydration, or even hypothermia.
Right.
When the body is pushed to its limits, the mind can play tricks, distorting perceptions and creating false realities.
So like a survival mechanism gone haywire.
It's possible.
But what about cases where multiple people report the same strange occurrences?
Right.
Wouldn't that rule out individual hallucinations?
That's where the psychological explanation gets a bit murky.
Right.
If only one person reported a strange experience, we might chalk it up to individual perception. However, when multiple witnesses share the same unsettling details, it raises the possibility of a shared delusion.
Wow.
Or perhaps a phenomenon that affects perception on a group level.
Okay, this is where things start to feel like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Are there any scientific theories that might explain these shared experiences?
One theory that has gained some traction is the idea of infrasound.
Infrasound?
Infrasound is a low-frequency sound.
Okay.
That is often below the range of human hearing.
Right.
Some believe that infrasound generated by geological formations or weather patterns can induce feelings of anxiety, disorientation, and even hallucinations.
So it's like an invisible wave of sound. Yeah.
Messing with your mind, creating a sense of unease, and perhaps even prompting irrational behavior.
Precisely. And what's fascinating is that infrasound has been known to cause physical effects as well.
Really?
It can vibrate internal organs, create a sense of pressure in the chest.
Wow.
And even trigger a fight or flight response.
Okay, I'm starting to understand why some people connect infrasound to missing 411.
Right.
If it can cause fear, disorientation, and even a primal urge to flee, it could potentially explain some of the strange behaviors reported in these cases. But does infrasound explain those eerie accounts of people being led away by unseen guides?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Or the relocation of belongings to previously searched areas?
That's where the infrasound theory starts to show its limitations.
Okay.
While it might explain some of the psychological and physical effects, it doesn't account for the more inexplicable aspects of these cases.
So if science can't fully explain what's happening, where do we turn next? Well, this is where we enter the territory of folklore mythology.
Okay.
And those theories that embrace the unexplained.
Right.
Some cultures have long-held beliefs about forest spirits, trickster entities, or creatures that inhabit the wilderness and lure people away.
I've always been fascinated by those stories.
Yeah.
But are we talking about Bigfoot here? Or something a bit more mystical and sinister?
Think less Bigfoot and more like supernatural beings with the ability to manipulate perceptions and control the elements.
Okay.
These entities are often described as shapeshifters, tricksters, or guardians of the wilderness who might view humans as intruders.
So perhaps some of these missing individuals didn't just get lost or have an accident?
That's possible.
Maybe they were intentionally lured off the beaten path by something beyond our understanding?
Yeah, it's a chilling thought.
But if these entities are real, why would they target humans and where do they take them?
These are the very questions that fuel speculation and keep us delving deeper into the enigma of missing 411. Some believe that these entities might be protective of their territory.
Okay.
While others suggest that they might be playing a cosmic game that we, with our limited human perspective, can't fully grasp.
Okay. This is where my mind starts to enter X-Files territory.
I hear you.
Are there any other theories that push even further beyond the realm of conventional explanations?
Some researchers propose the idea of portals or interdimensional gateways, suggesting that certain wilderness areas might have unique properties that allow for passage to other realms or dimensions.
Oh, hold on. Are we talking about Stranger Things here? Like those missing people stumbled into an alternate reality?
It's certainly a mind-bending concept.
Yeah.
The idea that these individuals might have inadvertently stepped into another dimension, leaving behind no trace in our reality, is both fascinating and terrifying.
What about those cases where people reappear, like Stephen Kubacki, the cross-country skier who vanished and returned 15 months later with no memory of where he'd been? Could they have somehow found their way back from one of these other dimensions?
It's a possibility, although their accounts often lack concrete details about their experiences.
Right.
Their memories are often fragmented or hazy,
Yeah.
as if their minds were trying to shield them from the trauma of what they'd encountered.
It's like their minds were overloaded with information that our human brains can't fully process.
Right.
Or perhaps whatever they experienced was so far beyond our comprehension that it simply can't be translated into human terms.
That's a chilling thought.
Yeah.
And it leaves us grappling with more questions than answers.
Right.
And then there's the theory that's often met with skepticism, but continues to linger in discussions about unexplained disappearances.
Okay.
Alien abduction.
I know alien abduction is a very controversial topic.
Yeah, it is.
But some accounts are so bizarre that they just defy conventional explanations.
You really do.
Are there any missing 411 cases that have particularly strong connections to this theory?
While there's no definitive evidence linking any missing 411 cases to alien abduction, there are some with details that fuel speculation.
Okay.
Unexplained lights in the sky, strange symbols or markings found near disappearance sites, and individuals reporting experiences that align with typical abduction narratives.
Right.
These elements keep the alien theory alive in the missing 411 discourse.
So we've explored natural causes, psychological phenomena, infrasound, mythological creatures, interdimensional portals.
It's a lot.
And even alien abduction. It's like a buffet of explanations for these baffling disappearances.
It really is.
But haven't we overlooked one very important possibility?
What's that?
What about the potential for human foul play?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
While it's tempting to focus on the more fantastical explanations, we can't rule out the possibility of crime, even in remote wilderness areas.
Yeah.
Human malice can be just as unpredictable and enigmatic as any supernatural force.
So where do we go from here?
That's a good question.
We have this vast array of theories, each with its own strengths and limitations.
Right.
How do we sift through all of this information and make sense of these perplexing cases?
I think the key takeaway is that missing 411 defies easy categorization.
Okay.
We can't rely on a single explanation or dismiss any possibility outright.
Right.
These cases demand open minds, critical thinking, and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
It's both humbling and terrifying to acknowledge that there are things in this world that we may never fully understand.
That's true.
But that doesn't mean we should stop searching for answers.
I agree.
We've explored the chilling details, the perplexing patterns, and the diverse theories that attempt to explain these disappearances.
We have.
Join us in the final part of our deep dive as we reflect on the human impact of missing 411 and discuss how we can approach these mysteries responsibly.
I'm ready when you are.
You know, we've spent this whole episode exploring this unsettling world of missing 411.
Yeah.
We've examined these perplexing patterns, these strange occurrences, and all those theories that range from scientifically plausible to the downright mind-boggling. But I think it's time we shift our focus to the human side of this mystery.
You're right. It's easy to get caught up in the intellectual puzzle of missing 411. But we can't forget that these cases represent real-life tragedies. Behind every vanished hiker, every lost child, there are families and loved ones left grappling with unimaginable grief and uncertainty.
It's heartbreaking to think about the anguish those families must endure, not knowing what happened to their loved one, having no closure, no answers. It must be just an incredibly heavy burden to bear.
It is, and often these families face not only the pain of loss, but also the added weight of public scrutiny and speculation. Their loved one's disappearance becomes fodder for online forums, documentaries, and even fictionalized accounts. Sometimes blurring the lines between respect for the victims and the insatiable public appetite for the unexplained.
It's a delicate balance, wanting to understand these mysteries while also being mindful of the very real human impact they have.
Exactly.
So how do we as consumers of these stories approach missing 411 responsibly?
That's a great question.
What can we do to contribute to a better understanding of these cases while also being sensitive to the families involved?
I think the most important thing is to engage with these stories empathetically.
Okay.
Remember that these are not just abstract mysteries to be dissected and debated. These are real people whose lives have been forever altered by these events. When sharing information or discussing theories, it's crucial to do so with respect and sensitivity.
That makes a lot of sense. We can be curious and inquisitive without resorting to sensationalism or disrespect. Are there any resources or organizations that are dedicated to investigating missing 401 men cases in a responsible and ethical manner?
Yes, There are groups that approach these cases with a focus on both investigation and support for families.
Okay.
Some organizations work to compile data, analyze patterns, and advocate for more thorough investigations by law enforcement.
Okay.
Others provide resources and support networks for families grappling with the emotional and logistical challenges of a missing loved one.
It's good to know that there are people out there working to shed light on these mysteries,
Right.
while also offering compassion and support to those most affected.
Yeah.
What about those of us who are drawn to the wilderness?
Yeah.
Those who love hiking, camping, or simply exploring the great outdoors. What steps can we take to stay safe and minimize the risks associated with these types of disappearances?
There's no guaranteed way to eliminate all risk.
Right.
Especially when venturing into unpredictable environments.
Right.
However, there are precautions everyone can take to enhance their safety.
Okay.
First and foremost, always inform someone about your planned route, your estimated return time, and any specific details about your itinerary.
Okay.
It's like leaving breadcrumbs for rescuers should the unexpected occur.
That's such a simple but important step. It's like filing a flight plan before embarking on a journey into the wild.
Exactly. And in addition to informing someone about your plans, it's crucial to pack appropriate gear for the terrain and weather conditions you might encounter.
Right.
A reliable map, a couple extra layers of clothing, a first aid kit, and a communication device can make all the difference.
Yeah.
If you find yourself lost or injured.
And what about those strange occurrences we discussed earlier?
Right.
The feelings of disorientation, the unexplained sounds, the sense of being watched or followed.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone who experiences something like that while out in the wilderness?
Yeah.
If something feels off, trust your instincts.
Okay.
Don't dismiss those feelings or try to rationalize them away. If you hear unusual noises, feel like you're being watched, or suddenly become disoriented, the best course of action is to stay put.
Right.
And try to contact help.
So basically, don't try to be a hero.
Right.
If you sense danger, stop, assess the situation, and reach out for assistance.
Precisely. And if you have a communication device, use it to call for help or send your location to someone who can alert authorities.
It sounds like the key takeaways here are preparation awareness and trusting your gut feeling.
Absolutely.
Don't let the allure of the wilderness cloud your judgment.
Right.
Respect the power of nature and take the necessary steps to ensure your safety.
Well said. The wilderness can be a place of immense beauty and tranquility, but it also demands our respect and vigilance.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Missing 411, we're left with more questions than answers.
I think that's fair to say.
We've explored these unsettling details and the diverse theories
Right.
and the very real human impact of these unexplained disappearances. But perhaps that's the enduring fascination of Missing 411.
Yeah.
The mysteries it presents, the challenges it poses to our understanding of the world, and the reminder that there are still corners of our planet that hold secrets beyond our grasp.
Indeed. Missing 411 invites us to embrace the unknown.
Yeah.
To ponder the possibilities and to approach the mysteries of our world with both curiosity and caution.
And to our listeners, we leave you with this. What are your thoughts on Missing 411?
Yeah. What theories resonate with you?
And what precautions do you take when venturing into the wilderness?
We'd love to hear your perspectives.
Until next time, stay curious, stay safe,
Yes.
and keep exploring